You're live. Ooh. Oh,
Go
let me
back,
pause
reach
it.
to the debate
Sorry,
at the speaker's
family.
corner. So it's a good time for a nice catch up.
All right, up to daisy. That was the wrong one. Hold on, family. I'm just loading the thing isn't loaded. Yeah, hold on. Let's get the old show back on through. Go ahead. All right. Big up. Let me get rid of this. Welcome to the Black Biracial broadcast, everyone. Mic check. Yep, I am your host, Rap Raven, also known as Brother Raven. Now I'm just going to give me some time to actually upload because I actually reinstalled my operating system in the hopes that it would actually speed up my Mac, but it hasn't. So maybe I have to go and spend another extortionate amount of money on a Mac. Oh dear. Let me see. Let's see if I can find my PDF that will give us the best. Where is it? PDF. It should be open, right? Oh gosh. Oh dear. We'll come back there. Maybe I just want to use it. All right. Either or. Okay, cool. So family, we are today's show is now it opens. Okay, my machine is just taking so please bear with me, family. We got a fantastic guest today. If you remember last week, we covered the topic, very important topic of it was myself on Brother Jedi's show. I think it was about identity, but it quickly went into who people should marry or not marry. And then we had a biracial sister on there, and she was saying certain things that went viral. And I think as it went viral, a lot of people saw it, and people have been messaging me saying, "I want to speak about certain things." I think certain things were cool, certain things not so cool. And is it cool? So I've been asking on a couple of the shows, but some other people have asked to come on this show, and we're joined today by a brother. I'm going to let him in a few seconds for him to introduce himself and just give his perspective. But right now, I'm just going to see if my machine is going to allow me to actually pick my. I'm hoping it isn't the massive video file that I've uploaded, but it's very well. Okay, here we go. Instagram Reels. No, it really is taking its time here, mate. All right. Well, I'll try again. I've got a feeling it's my actual video, but we'll see. So anyway, family, we are. I'm hoping I am in the stream, right? Yes. So, family, we're joined. What we're going to do is because we've got a guest who might have to leave at some point because we do start quite late. So, rather than me do the wind up and do like the interweb roundup of the stuff that comes on and that we give Black Ben perspective, we're going to invite him up straight away to talk. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play because I actually want to get rid of this video, but maybe he might want to use it as a thing. So let me play it. Just so you understand what's the case study is. Oh, remove or add? Yeah, it might be this video that's taking so long,
Yes.
That's what it is.
Man like Raven, Black Betterment's general.
There you go.
Yeah? Ambassador.
So this was the show I was on, and there was a sister there, and there was a brother. Two brothers, but sister identifies biracial, and so does the brother. Different parenting lineage, but they identify as mixed. And the topic was about mixed community. And we've had a few in the past, and we've had a few people who came on, and we might bring up some of their conclusions. And the brother did want afterwards to invite some others to jump and give their perspective, and you're always welcome to. So I'm going to probably get rid of this video because it's really tracking.
And this is going to be very shocking, but all I'm trying to demonstrate to people is the double dilemma that Black people are despised and disorganized, right? So when I talk about reparations, is it because...
All right, cool. So I'm going to get rid of this for now, just in case it was actually slowing down the stream. So there you go. But anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to invite brother Qatari to the show. So let's just intro brother Qatari. Let me know if you can hear me, if I can hear you.
Salute King, what's up? Can you hear me? Is that okay?
Yeah, we can. Nice and fresh. It's always good.
Salute,
Good mic and stuff. Excellent.
Love.
Good. So welcome, brother. So just obviously everyone can always keep their private life private, and we appreciate that. But you came across, I think, myself and Jedi speaking on his show. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm familiar with you guys though, like from Speaker's Corner and so on. But just with this subject, this one kind of like, I wouldn't say it hit home, but I feel this subject is very touchy for our people, and our people need to know, about what Black is and the shades of and spectrum of color. I feel it's very important.
Right, excellent. So yeah. I think what we should do is just give us a bit intro about your background that you want us to know, that what community group you're from and that kind of stuff, and then from that I'll then ask a question just to set the scene of what was perceived and what was there. And by the way, if there's anything I've done that was right or not right, I'm more than happy to try to correct it or find perspective. So you can say what you like. We do say this though. No, it's funny. Normally when we start, I do say this. Let me just do this because we always start this way, normally, but I haven't had a chance to start because my machine's going really, really slow. It's like comically slow at the moment from my end. But it's just we try to be constructive as possible. So we try not to use geography terms, and unless we do a case study on a geography term, we try to call each other names and that kind of stuff here, and it just allows conversation to flow. I've got a feeling it's actually my PDF that's slowing things down, but cool. But until I sort that out, I'll just talk. So I would say yeah. So yeah, give us a bit of your background just so we can understand what your perspective, and then you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a mixed race child, as I'm labelled and titled by everyone. But in my mind and in my heart and everything, obviously, I'm human first. Then I see myself as obviously a black individual because I'm labelled as black. I'm called the N-word, the same as anybody else. So, well, not as the same as anybody else within our shade and our background. So, it's very important for me to express how I've felt being 39 years of age now, growing up in England, and and obviously being, you know, labelled by my own people as well as being labelled by the oppressor. My mother is of white heritage, and my father is from a black background heritage, and obviously black is you know, it is also a title. It was created for us by the oppressor, you know, in you know, so even the whole term and race, you know, is a very recent, and it's a way to separate us, our people, and you know, because we're all obviously we all have many shades in our spectrum of black. Black is beautiful. We have many shades and colors within our ethnic background, and you know, it's just all of the labels and titles is which separates us. It's like someone of that's albino, you know, their genetics is of African descent. So there's many labels and titles on things when we are one people, and there's a lot of stigma and a lot of criticism around, you know, light-skinned people, dark-skinned people, mixed race children, and a lot of people. The main subject I want to get onto to make this a bit more shorter. The main subject for me is, are mixed race children black, or are they mixed race, or are they white? What are mixed race children? Do black people see mixed race children as their own, or are mixed race children separate? That this is the point I want to get to today, and yeah, we're gonna do this obviously with knowledge and, you know, patience and everything and understanding. So that's what I really want to say. Sorry to be long-winded.
I would say that good stuff there. I'm just posting a link just so that. But no, thanks for the intro there. And I would say that what I like to do is when you saw me speak on Jedi's platform.
Yes.
What? Because you obviously aware of me and Jedi speak. We used to speak a lot back in Speaker's Corner.
That's right.
Is there what was there anything that you said that was said that you've seen that could have been problematic for coming from myself or Jedi self, and what was your understanding? Because if you can explain what made you like, oh, I need to talk to Raven, just so I can understand what was said, perceived to said, or actually did say, so I can just have it kind of
like a timeline type of thing. Yeah, absolutely. There was a podcast I see on YouTube called Beigenomics, and that was quite funny. And it was a really good show, to be honest, a good video. Raven was on there, Jedi was on there, a female was on there, and another gentleman was on there. And, you know, they was talking about race and is mixed race and can mixed race people speak for black people type of thing. That was more of the crunch of the conversation. For me, hearing this, especially in 2025, it's like, for me, I know a lot about the oppressor's tactics. I know you know, I can see it as well. Like I've seen it all my life, especially being from two heritage, you know, so I can see the division and separation. And when obviously things was mentioned, like, you know, you can't speak for black people, and because you're both it don't give you the right to speak for black or white people. So then it's like, what bracket does it leave mixed race children in? And I see that. Then I messaged Raven. There was a lot of points in there and good points as well. That, it was a very good discussion, But I see a few things in there. I wasn't happy with a few things, and obviously, me being aware of Raven and obviously knowing Raven is a very good, humble brother in his approach, I thought it would be a good idea to message Raven, because I felt there was some things that was mentioned, and I felt that Raven, representing black people, could have possibly spoke up a little bit for us and just said, but obviously, everybody has their own stance. Everybody's allowed their own stance. Everybody should be allowed the free will to feel how they feel. But I felt how I felt because I know I'm black. My direct blood, like blood in me is black. So it's like I felt the need to message Raven and say the things that bothered me. And the things that I put in that message was Huey P. Newton is mixed race, and he led the Black Panthers, and he was the founder of the Black Panthers and the defense minister. And I think this is what needs to be taught to black people, like darker skin. Let me not say black, let me say to my darker brothers and sisters, is that we had a leader that was a defense minister for the Black Panther Party and founder, and he was mixed race. That is a statement within itself, and that should speak volumes, let alone Bob Marley, having very spiritual music from the land. But these are things that I sent to Raven, and I said to him, brother, you could have kind of, put your fist up for us on that one, but then that's what led us to here. I'm not saying that Raven didn't, because Raven, I listened to the rest of the video. Sorry to cut you, but Raven, I know your stance. You obviously do defend us, but I just felt that whereas 2025, that we shouldn't really be having these discussions because we're past it. But I guess there's a lot of us that's not past it, so that's why it does need to be discussed. So
let me jump in there. So, brother, I give thanks for the intro and the truth, and I agree with 110%, with a 10% error margin. I do. I would say this. So when that show went live, and big up to brother Jedi, and speaking
big up for
one thing I know about Jedi, and Jedi, he has this thing called dirty woke, which is his kind of like philosophy on how he wants to do things, where he wants consciousness done chaotically. I guess Joe, I can put it the way he does it, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of his characteristics. He's cool. Yeah, he's cool.
If you follow him more than 4 seconds, you know what he's kind of about. And he invited me on the show to do so, and I knew that there's gonna be some kind of hidden twist of what he was trying to do, and that's what I expected. And obviously, he had two brothers and sisters on there who have a history of going viral for biracial kind of topics and mixed topics and that kind of stuff. And for me, when it went live, I got a whole lot of texts and inboxes from people who knew me. They were like, "Oh my days!" Like, I was so angry. I was shouting. As Raven needs to speak more. Why is that kind of stuff, right? Why is Raven not speaking? And that stuff. And I got that a lot in Speaker's Corner as well. A lot. Like, I'll get in like, why do you not speak? And the truth is, everyone's correct with why they not speak. I think when it comes to debating certain people on certain platforms, these topics, they really go somewhere else so quickly that like when you're talking to someone, they might mention 7 devastating things, but the topic was about one simple thing. And so we're talking. I think the topic was identity, that moved into how the black community should pick partners, right? And then it went other certain places, and people can't speak for us, and people can't speak for them, and that kind of stuff. And I really said my stance about people of one black parent can practice black Betterment. They're in the black community, and whether our members call themselves light skin, biracial, black, mixed black, or whatever it is, that's your freedom. But that doesn't exclude you from being black or being part of the black community or contributing to black.
Or leading.
Yes. And the question was very. Now there are people who have their opinions and they can always come on, but we've always said from the ideology that the philosophy pushed forward, it is a choice-based initiative, so every member can lead. as long as they uphold certain principles that is black first, right? These kind
And
of
they
ideas.
can't be with a biracial partner. That's the part you said where they can't lead, is if they're with a biracial partner.
I did not say no. That is not correct, brother.
No?
I'm glad you asked that question. No.
Okay.
So you talking about so if it's a question that Jedi asked me, so Jedi was asking if there is someone in an organization who is not who has picked a partner who's not within the black community. So if biracial people are in the black community, they're welcome to be partners and pick biracial partner. So
But they can't lead though. But you said they can't lead.
Oh, they can. But I think let me be very very clear, right? There's there's three from the ideology that we speak here. There's three major sections that causes external internal conflict, right? And let's break it down. You tend to have the diasporan black African, right? No, sorry, the continental African. They're people who were born in Africa, African descent. They're there. Then number two, you have the diaspora, meaning they're of African descent, but through history they have been moved historically to other lands, and that's one group that seems to have a very loud voice. And then you have a person who has one parent from one of those, yeah, or a grandparent even sometimes, right? Yeah, or a descendancy from that, right? So those three. So what I was saying is we have a quick word people start arguing who's black, who's not black, and that is the ABC community, right? And that is the Afro-Black connected community, right? Now, the ABC changes depending on who you're talking to, where you are. Some people might say African, black, and colored because in South Africa, biracial people are called colored. But some people, this term they jump for the sheet. So I'd say Afro-Black connected because the ABC works there. But what I'm saying is those are the three primary members, as in when it comes to like distinction of grand namings that we speak of, right? And if you're a member of any of those, regardless of and you marry within any of those, you're still practicing a form of black Betterment. So nothing removes you from that. So maybe I need to go back on the show and say that. And the thing is, I would actually play the video. If I had a timestamp, I'll do it. And
I've got some things timestamped. Some things.
Oh, that'd be handy. But that might. I mean, if you have when he asked you that question, I can upload and see it now. If you had it, did you have timestamp now?
Not on that particular
point. Okay. Well, so that question he asked. So for those, he asked you, Brother Raven, can a black person still lead and not marry a black person? And I said, no, you have to marry a member, or you have to be with a member of the black community. And I already said before then, Africans, diasporans, and people with one black parent or biracial, these terms are within the community. So that's just how it is, And I mean if I were to say that way, Bob Marley and these kind of people will be rejected, and W.E.D. Du Bois. So it doesn't really make sense for me to say that. But the emphasis is on members, and if the biracial community are members, then they can practice what others practice. That was what was said, but how it was interpreted is my issue. I have to go back and try to correct that. If everyone thinks that, I must go back and correct.
No, I don't think everyone thinks that. It's just I think it might be a little misconfusion in the way some things are said. And like you said earlier, how people ask you 7 things at once, and then it's hard to grasp the main concept of the subject and stuff like that. So, but something I have got timestamped is that 1 hour and 41 minutes and 46 seconds.
Let's go. I'm gonna try to upload this now. 1,000 forgiveness if the video starts blowing and showing.
I've got it in my archive, so I could probably upload it if you wanted me to.
When you say you upload it, as in have you snipped it and stuff? Have you done that? Or have you've got the whole video already or something?
I've got snippets and I've got the whole video already.
Oh,
but the snippets, but I haven't titled the snippets yet. I've only titled 1 or 2.
You should come do some work here, bro. We need that. You've actually see this is stuff that this is the stuff I need to do. There we go. So I got
Rep Raven, big up Brother Jedi, and when we go back, we used to debate a lot of speakers.
So I'm gonna pause that there. Hopefully, this interface gives me. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you yet. Is it not gonna then give me a timestamp in this interface? Oh, here we go. It does. You know what? Because this video is like 200. I mean, how big is it? It's probably like 400 megabytes or something. So I don't know if that slows down things, but I'm clicking. And what number did you say, brother? Again, what number did you hit it?
1 hour and 41 minutes.
1 hour and 41 minutes. All right, we're gonna get. We got 1 hour 31 there. We're almost there, fam. We're almost there. We're doing good. 1 hour 37. We're almost getting there. a 140. We're gonna play it from 140. Just give it a bleed in. And what's that we're looking at for our family? What's it looking at for?
This is what I've got. It says Raven says that the conversation needs to be had with the parents if they have mixed race children with a European partner, because when it comes to us practicing Black Betterment, they will be self-sabotaging.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that, and let's unpack that for the family. Let's go.
Top of that, I'm a foreigner, which means that I have no foot to stand on other than my substance. My race don't mean shit. My background don't mean shit.
10 points for that. 10 points for that. I'm going to say this,
as
though.
Tommy would say.
Hold on, fam. I don't mean to be shocking.
And I'm okay with that because that is the truth. This is not my land. And when black people start to accept that, you stand out like a sore thumb here because this is not your land. Go back home and you'll never have these problems. There's no systemic racism because you're all black.
Ain't no black in the Union Jack. Give us a ticket and we'll go back.
Here's a shocking thing.
First class, please.
The thing is, realistically,
First class.
The
chest is high. You get
from my standpoint, I would never have a conversation with you or any person with one black parent. The real conversation is with the parent, because the black parent, because you have to always say, look, marry who you want, love who you want. But once you bring life into this world.
Sorry, sis. If it's very loud, I'll try to turn it down. But sorry about that. Yeah, let me turn it down.
That's all right. It's fine.
They're complaining about volume and things.
The things you're describing could be a reality.
Look what you fucking done.
And we haven't fixed it yet amongst the human population.
What could be a reality? It's too problematic.
All these problems.
So right now,
the hardships you face. He wants to go back in time and erase you so you don't have to suffer like you have as mixed race people.
What I'm saying is,
you suffer regardless because
the conversation is.
So let me start on this. So this is like back and forth banter that they're having, but you got to understand that within that 1 minute, so many has been said, and Jenna's made a joke that's actually connected to something. She said that's a serious thing that they're perceived as something, and then everyone's laughing, but this is laughing to a question and a new question and past the topic, and before we even got here, people were laughing and screaming, and so the thing is, just like every person who's affected by things said here wants to be in there and say certain things, but so much gets missed, and it's like whose stuff gets missed and whose stuff doesn't get missed. But let me just see if there's any more. Then we're gonna unpack what was said and if it was right or wrong.
Is that a kindness? Is that a kindness when people like Terminator?
You're living experience.
But if you then say that, then black people shouldn't have kids because black people are going to go suffer racism in the world. So you should not have kids to stop your own suffering then. Is that what you're saying?
That's a good point.
I'll say what I'm saying. Everything I say comes from a black perspective, right? And the question is, how do you get enough people, black members of the community, to actually make a difference, to actually fix things, right?
Can I tell you?
Oh, yeah, I can. Let me see.
Okay, go on. Sorry, go on.
Right? Yeah, and the thing is, right now, it's like if we're seeing a consistency in people who have one parent who's black, one parent who's white, and it's causing all these pains, then it's like my conversation can't be with them because they're going through it. The conversation has to go with their parents and go, look
what you done.
You have to try to fix this. You have to try to. If you're going to marry a European, you have to be part of the process to make your children not go through the experience. Because when it comes to us practicing Black Betterment, but then they're going to be self-sabotaging all through the process.
But on the flip side, if you
so let me pause it there. So let me unpack what was meant or what was not meant and what was meant to be meant. Just
I understand what you mean. Like totally.
There you go. Yeah. So I start by saying this. Having knowledge doesn't necessarily having knowledge of self or having knowledge of history in that isn't a exclusive thing to people with two black parents. You're going to find people who have two black parents and they have no history and no knowledge and no synchronization with anything constructive for black people. But what we're saying is there's a unique thing where someone has one European or one something and one black, and if any there's in a family turmoil, you're gonna experience a higher ratio than someone who doesn't have that dynamic, right?
That's right.
So what we're saying is, once someone is born into that, for we know, the European family might take over and might say certain kind of things. So it's very hard at certain points to get through. So the real conversation is to the parent who made the choice, and we're saying, are you aware that when you marry outside, there are these set of challenges that might affect you as well as your children? You see? So that's where it comes from. It's like the real conversation is the black man today who's marrying out and they don't have children. It's like, are you aware that this could happen? Yeah. So are you trying to fix it or this kind of stuff, right? That's what it is. Now, no matter what happens, we're always going to have people with one black parent and one non-black parent, right? And those people are always welcome to do constructive things. That's always good. We look forward to that. Yeah. So the question is, everything I am saying is for that members, which includes those people, biracial people, mixed black people, whatever term people want to use, or black people, right? So for me, it's like I'm talking to the community. So if you are a biracial person and you're about to marry, continue marrying to a European, then now the conversation is for you. Like, are you aware that this could happen or not happen, right? Yeah. But also, to be honest with you, that's just to take it even a bit more further, a bit more deeper. If you're a biracial person and you are looking to marry Europeans, whoever your mother group was or your father group, depending, right? I probably still would have nothing to say to you in the sense of I would see it as you're continuing something that was started by your father or your mother, right? As in, like, there's a we see that concept or what that destiny in Brazil and Argentina, where you're going down the cultural group or the people group of one side, not the other side. And if that's the case,
redemption. Yeah,
redemption, that's right, yeah. Which is what it's called, right? So once again, this is a choice. Right? It's not for me to say yay or nay, like, but it's like my goal is to promote Black Betterment now, so all the Black members, which biracial people included, want to marry within the community, as in they see a value in that, right? They see a value in that, and they can think of nothing else because we've done such a good job of promoting it. Like I always start these conversations by saying, unfortunately, Black people, the collective, are collectively inadequate. And sometimes there's a hoo-ha and a shock, but after the fact it was said, people just get on with it. So I'm saying that, well, if we're agreeing that we are still in that state, we have not recovered from being conquered by other people, what are we doing to recover? And Black families is part of the recovering process. So that has to be something of a priority. And unfortunately, Black men, I'm focusing now, have dropped the baton in spreading the importance of Black love. And to the point where now it's like a mismatched conversation where when I talk about Black families, Black love, people of one Black parent are thinking I'm trying to say something horrible about their family or something like that. When it's like, if you exist today, you're welcome to practice Black families. You're welcome to, Barack Obama, regardless of his policies and what he did, married a Black woman and had a Black family, right? And I hope his daughters continue, which I suspect they won't, but I would like them to, whatever. But that's what it is, right? Now, family, we have a lot of things, obviously, because I'm talking and my machine's slow. But let me just see if there's any kind of questions. Now that's now family. We're gonna have a back and forth with the brother, I guess, Kitari. But there are some biracial brothers who have been on the show before and sisters, and they're usually quite quiet. They say that it's a bit uncomfortable with the format, but the brother has invited, after he gives his statements and his opinions, to other biracial brothers and sisters who might disagree with him, to constructively come in and give their side. But let me read some of the things. Being born and raised by a white parent is totally different experience to being a light-skinned Black person. Okay, yeah, okay. And that's another thing. Because when things pop in my head, I'm just going to say, because since this video comes out, people ring me, text me, Instagram me, and there's a 20-hour debate, which is beautiful, great.
Can I counter that? Can I counter that quickly? The one.
Go ahead. You say it's your time.
Because I understand that concept, but if a mixed race child is brought up in a Black home per se, let's say his mum is Black or his father's Black and he's brought up in that home, how would that be different to a light skin? That's my point. So
I say this. I could really unpack that, but what it comes down to is whenever we talk about one group. So if I put the Black race, RACE, as reconnected Afro-centered ethnicities, or whatever, right? That means you have a collection of a collection. Yeah, you have a collection of a collection. So we could sit down and go, does a biracial person go through the same experience as a light-skinned person? They go, no. And then once you agree and they say no. Then they go, but does a light-skinned person go through the same experience as a dark-skinned Black person? No. And then they go, oh, but does an African go through the same experience as a Caribbean? And then they go, oh, but as an African who was born in Africa have the same experience as an African who was born in England. And what you realize is being Black there is multifaceted. And we can use that, oh, but they don't have the same experience. That might be true, but there is an overlapping experience of being identified as Black or Black Afro descendant, or Black descendant, or connected to Black, or ABC or whatever, right? And that's what Black Betterment tackles. So the question you asked, because my mind is very terrible, you said, repeat what you said about the light thing?
Yeah, because the person up in the comments, they said how a mixed race, upbringing is different to a light skin upbringing. Now, my counter to that is if they're the same exact tone and I'm mixed race and I've been brought up in a black home with my black mum or a black father, how would that experience be different to a light skin that is the same tone? You just may have two black parents, but that, you see what I'm saying? We're past that. We're past that as people.
Well, yeah,
and I feel these kind of separate. A lot of things is separation. Yeah. Unless there's like people have really good experiences that they could tell me that.
Yeah, no. Everyone's experience is important, and what you're saying is important. And I say this, when someone sees you, how they perceive you is how things are going to happen, right? So if they perceive you as some way, they're going to treat you some way. So that's just what it is. So yeah, someone can be of a light black background and of a biracial background, and someone knows or doesn't care, or they assume, right? So someone could be from Africa and they actually think he's directly from African tribe or African country or whatever, but actually he's from the Caribbean. So the people can always think certain things, right? But then there's also the unique experience of the individual. So yes, you could have a black person who's been adopted or fostered by a European, right? Which I know many, plenty. Right, and then you could have, a person with one black parent who was raised by the black family or raised by the white family, right? Regardless of your experience, the question that's most important: are these individuals members of the black community? If the question is yes, then they can practice Black Biracial. The reason why I have to have a context is if I don't have a context when I go places, all that happens is people talk about trauma and feelings, but they don't feel pain like me. And I'm saying that I promote a lifestyle called Black Biracial. Black Betterment says the only reason to identify as black is to practice Black Betterment, meaning black people helping black people on black issues. If you keep it that simple, then being black means something. You see? Now, some people want to be black to express pain, like I'm black and that means I'm going through pain. That's fine. We have to unpack that trauma. And the reason, brothers and sisters, the reason why I did not speak as much to the sister who was kind of trauma dumping, which is actual thing, is because she was actually experiencing some kind of pain, whether she knew it or not, and I was being merciful and kind. And it was not a tactical meeting; it was a traumatic meeting for her to express how her perception was. She experienced, her words, racism from white people and black people. Now, there is a science that social science that we try to unpack here, and that is, if you are born in a biracial parenting, there is a saying that we look at that does that person hold a defense for the black, the white, the mutual? What you'll notice about the sister is she said she would mention like both parties,
which is more neutral.
Yeah, but she actually did do much more complaints saying that black people were racist, and she's experienced most things from black. That's what she was saying, but she never really go into the depth of what white people did. And she also did mention her dad being black and scary, and she did mention other kind of things that could come from being raised in an anti-black environment. When you see being black as being scary. Now she might come and defend herself and say she meant something else. So there is awareness, but the truth of the matter is the defense of white people is a strong thing in the black community anyway. So yes, being biracial with close proximity to white people can make you more likely to forget and forgive and look past certain challenges that collectively white or anti-black racists from the white community might do, right? But generally, black people as a whole have been trained to be subservient. That's why we don't practice Black Biracial. That's why in every meeting about how black people come together, non-black people are mentioned, because the art of subservience is what we are demonstrating. You see, how to focus on others before ourselves. But you'll find we're at the bottom of the league. So realistically,
can I ask a question to the audience?
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask this to the audience: are mixed race children, right, with a black parent and a white parent, are they black? Let's ask this to the comment section, because I don't want to entertain them too much, but let's see.
So the brother he wants to ask, if a person has one black parent and one white parent, are they classified as black? Can they classify as black? Should they see themselves as black, or how do you classify them? There you go.
Thank you very much.
So and if you guys want to give your opinion, by all, just be respectful. It is entertain them. I don't I don't know, you might be talking to someone, I'm not too sure. But so the question it asks is if a person has one black parent, one white parent, do you classify them as black, and can they classify them as black? Let us know your opinions, because the brother, he also has an exercise he wants to run and an opinion he wants to get. So when you get your time, families, write in the comments if that person say yes, they are black, or you can say no, they're a mixed race.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. So however you personally see, this is what he wants to do. They are as they say they are, as we has been saying for time. They are mixed. On Cold Barber says not fully black. They are mixed. So the term mixed, they got people. This is they're giving their what they're aware of. Sorry, what's the question, Dominic? Brother, question is: are a person with one black parent and one white parent, are they classified as black to you? Mixed, a term. What term would you use? Can they be termed black, or do you see them as black? Let us know. This is because this essentially was, I guess, what the question that's going to flow around the internet from the video that's made, right? And I've made it very clear that a person who has a black parent can identify as black, can call it black. Historically, there's been there, but there has also been terms to describe a person who has one parent who's black and one is white. So it comes out. I agree. It depends on how they see themselves. Factually, they are mixed race. How they claim is up to them. We don't beg nothing around here. That's another thing. That's another thing about begging. There is, especially the Caribbean culture, there is this importance that it's never seen that people are going around saying, be this, you're that, because it look like we're trying to make someone say something they don't want to be, right? So that's why for me personally as well, I uphold that. Like, I don't ask, I'm not, you're this, I'm not, and if you go, trust me, sister, you're this, right? It's okay. Whatever you identify is one thing, but you do recognize that you are seen as connected to this collective group, right? And then you allow them to reject or accept. And then if they reject, then they're on there, that's them, innit? A Zinga says black. A Chronicle says that's for mixed people to define themselves. They are both, so they can identify as black and white. And as long as they don't flip-flop, I'm good. They can identify as black if that shows how they feel. Perception. There you go. So and what's this one? We are who we are. People can identify whatever they want to, but there is a reality to be dealt with. There you go. And also, the black community has many dynamics, right?
That's right.
And that's why I talk about it as a community, right? And I say the ABC community, because to expect everyone to be exactly the same and have the same experience, and I'm talking about even as a collective, this is not going to be the way. But one thing we do understand is by being connected to this black thing, this blackness, this black category in some way, as in a biological lineage, a phenotypical way, in some that aspect, genetically, you unfortunately or fortunately, you will be you will have they call it the Negro wake up card or the black wake up card. But even if you think you don't think it, someone does think, there will come a time, and this has happened to me many times, where I'll be debating with mixed black brothers or mixed black sisters or black, or whatever it is, Africans, Caribbeans, and people saying, I'm not this, I am this, I'm not this, and then in that same conversation, they say something that connects them to the group, or they say a historical thing they did that connects them to the group, despite of what they're expressing, or they express something where someone did something, and that the something was done because they were viewed as being a part of this group, right? And that's always an interesting tale. Now, brother, now they have said that, everyone's giving opinion. Do you have a follow-up that you would wish to?
I do. Just the video, because if the people are aware of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, then that's the small little snippet video I would like to drop in now for anyone that, and not even that, this is for our whole culture, for the whole black race, because there's a lot of confusion. People can say it's how they identify themselves, mixed race people, but the truth is that we are oppressed by the oppressors, and we are labeled mixed race and half caste by the oppressors, and then by our own people, we are made to feel uncomfortable, not by all of our people, not by the ones that's wise, but by many people that have been oppressed themselves, do class us as separate to them. They don't see us as black. So the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because I wanted to hear what the people would say in the comments. And then on top of that, I wanted to follow up with the video from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and just to let you guys know what we are, type of thing. If that would be cool. Great.
Family. Okay, should I add the thing in? Can you edit yourself, or can I do it? I don't know. Do I have to do it?
It's in here already.
I can add it. Should I pray it now?
Yeah, please, brother. Please.
Let me go. Let's do this. Francis Chris Wilson, very important ancestor.
Was white. His father was black.
Let's see. There we go.
And you mix these together, and what do you get? A colored person. See, always a black person. So I said that, okay, on this planet Earth, in the 15th century, we had Columbus, 1492, coming out of Europe and realizing that the earth was round and not flat. And everywhere these white people landed, they found colored people, right? And if those men were sexually frustrated and the people were over time, and the women had sex, or I should say the men had sex, imposed sex, however you want to look at it. If they waited around 9 months, they found that all of the children looked like the mothers. And so they realized, wait a minute, we are a tiny minority in Europe and no other place where there are white people. So they said, wait a minute, what if these men got in boats and started going from south to north? We could genetically disappear. Now this may not make sense to black people, because under white supremacy, black people try to get rid of their color, don't we? White people don't want to disappear. And I have asked audiences of white people, do you want your children to be colored? Do you want your grandchildren to be colored? Do you want your great-grandchildren to be colored? Do you want your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren to be colored? I'm polite and they're polite. What do they say? No. Meaning they don't want to disappear. So I said, if you mean this, then you have to do certain specific things in all of these areas of activity so that white does not disappear on planet Earth. His mother is white.
That was the ancestor, Francis Chris Wellskin, made a very important book, The ISIS Papers. Recommend you buy it. It's one of the must-haves if you're practicing Black Betterment. And the brother, obviously, Akitari, is well versed in that. He understands. The brother, I've just played the video. How do I get rid of it? Remove. So yeah, would you like to follow up with that?
Yeah, just right at the beginning, she says when you get a white parent and a black parent, the child comes out black. That's what she said, and all the crowd said that as well. So this is, as people are saying in the comments, right, this is our unapologetic leader, right? So it's like, this is the thing, this is why I'm bringing Dr. Francis Cress Wilson to the conversation, because if people uphold her as high as they say, then you must respect what she has to say. And she's telling you and telling everyone, she's telling us, right, that a white parent, black parent, they have a black child. And she makes more references in that I've timestamped also. And she even says that when we put our hand up for the taxi, we struggle to get the taxi too. Now, obviously, everyone has their, different things that happen within their race and shade of color. But we are part of the black. We are a shade of the black culture. And this is what I'm trying to say, because there's a lot of people that will treat us different or will make us feel different, even if we are revolutionaries. Like, let's not pretend. And the thing is like, all I'm bringing to awareness is that the whole spectrum of our race, it's not about how dark you are or how light you are or how albino you are. These are colors from our beautiful race. And this is my point. Even in some of the comments, you can see a lot of like, some of the comments are quite, but this is what's going on. And that's why it's good to obviously educate our people.
Thank you, brother. And what I would say though is, and it was the same thing I kind of said on the show, as in the dynamics of pain and understanding flavors things in a certain way. So for example, there's always been issues. So when I was reading some book about the Haitian Revolution, right, and it strengthened my ABC community theory even stronger, where it said that in the Haitian Revolution, before the revolution happened, there was 3 dominant groups on the island, right? And the 3 dominant groups were the enslaved Africans who were born on Haiti, San Domingo, before what it was called, right? And they spoke English, or they spoke French, sorry, or Haitian Creole, or whatever, and they were, they had their culture going on. And then the other group was the Africans that were imported fresh, as in they just came then, as in they still retained their language, it hadn't been beaten out of them, they still had their tribal affiliates, but they all recognized they were taken on the ship, so they allied like that, right? And then there was the people who had European and black ancestry, right? And what happened is they all were given hell, right? And because they all were given hell, they all said, we're going to come together as one, and as a black republic. And then they had the biggest war of all time, killed everyone, did good stuff like that. And they said, yeah, we are a black republic, right? So that showed you that, there is overlapping groups that have their own identity, but come together for the greater blackness, right? Now, some of the issues that we might have, so in the past time, very few people looking at Bob Marley or W.E. Du Bois and saying them a lot of their mixed waivers, because there was a stronger black connection, and people were leading with black first and this kind of stuff, right? But today's age, and I remember there was a scholars, I'm trying to get some of the videos I saw in the 90s, I think it was the 90s, yeah, that I saw some of this stuff, and it happened over in America, where they said, oh, there's new classifications coming in, and with the new and with England, we never like the IC3 classification, for those who want to know, in England was used for black people, and it was very limited. So you had the Caribbean, African, and other, I think it was. And if your lineage was that, then you were IC3, i.e. black. But as time went by, they started introducing mixed, right? A new term. And then in America, it was the same, biracial, I think it was. And he was saying, this term is going to mask people's ancestry or connection, and we'll have a new group from it, and it will add confusion to the actual discussion. And that there's a history of that going on, rightly or wrongly. And also there's a history of, unfortunately, black men not marrying black women and having ideologies that justify it, right? So the ideology that and that's what I think Sister said, the red pill and this kind of stuff, yeah? Raven is just making stuff up now. All right, brother, I've used words you can always Google. Everything we talk about, we've done a case study at some point. So if you carry on listening, you're going to hear it, or we can go back and find those videos. But what I was saying is, with the red pill and these kind of guys, is black men justifying not marrying within the community group. So it's like, well, I can marry who I want because every child I have is black. You understand that the reason why, from when I move, I don't talk about the offspring or the children of a union. I talk about the concept of family. So I say that if you're a black man, the first person you marry is your family, meaning that is the first family step. So if you haven't married a black woman as a black man, then you don't have a black family. It's nothing to do with the children, because as you know, children can be registered as black. It's not an issue, period. But the mother isn't. So therefore, meaning by definition, you have a mixed family or whatever family people use for those terms, right? We're here about getting strong black families. So even though you might not be born from a black family, as in you have a mixed family because your you have a European parent that changes the description, you yourself can have a black family by marrying into black, as Bob Marley and W.E. Du Bois and they do. And if you check their ancestry, they have black family now because black and stuff, right? So this is one thing. Let me see if there's any questions. That's Brother Foster is a person who I think he was a person of biracial background, but I think one of his issues he said was because he's quite light in skin. Maybe one of his parents was quite light, that he himself has quite a lot of European features. I think this was false because there's been so many members who jumped on, and he's had his own experience. But you'll tend to find that brothers like Foster, they're not really connected to black identity or black betterment in any kind of form.
Okay.
And by all means, Brother Foster, you can come on, and I'm happy to sit out and have you guys speak, because essentially what we have is we have a brother of one black parent who is strongly identified in the black betterment, and once again, education is important. From time the brother says Francis Cress Wellington, I already know his mindset is in a certain place, right? Now I don't know if Foster reads or watches anything on Francis Cress Wellington, but I would recommend it strongly, right? But the brother does think I'm all over the place, so by all means you can always jump in, Brother Foster, to give your opinion, and we won't shut you down. We're trying to be constructive here. And any other biracial or mixed black or the new term you want to use, or light black or this kind of stuff, person, we should jump in. This is our show where we're trying to find solutions. But was there anything while the brothers work out if they want to jump in or not, or have something to say? Neither are you, Raven. You're only attached to policing black men. All right, so that's another thing. Because I strongly talk about black men becoming constructive and picking black women, this triggers maybe some biracial people, as in some mixed black people.
That shouldn't, and I don't know why that should. That shouldn't, and I don't know why that would, to be honest with you. I wanted to touch on something quickly before you get into something. Go ahead. Right, one of the comments here, right? Kushti, this the last time we're gonna address you, my brother, with all due respect.
It's a sister, by the way.
Oh, okay. She's queen. She's right. It says, just as the lady in Jedi vid, they are trying to educate you on your blackness now. For one, queen, right? You said they are trying to educate you, they. So who is they, right? And for one, and for second, right? I am black, right? And this is why I just played Dr. Francis Cress Wellington, right? Because she said at the beginning of the video, in 10 seconds in, one white parent, one black parent, they have a black child. The Queen Auntie, rest in peace, told you this herself. So this is the kind of thing, the reason why I'm speaking, because this is, again, is clear proof and evidence that we are looked at as not black when the Queen, Dr. Francis Cress Wellington, is telling you that we are black. So this is what I'm trying to say. This will help empower us in totality. I'm aware of coconuts and all of that there, and let's not keep treating mixed race people like they're all coconuts when we have many darker brothers and sisters that are coconuts too. So we need to kind of call it for how it is, and call it for how we see it, and put a lot of respect on ourselves. And that's all I want to really touch on, because are mixed race children black, yes or no? Dr. Francis just told you they are. So we need to, have a bit more respect for ourselves, as far as I'm concerned.
And here's one thing. Thank you, brother. And I would say this. One thing I would say is there's always things that might reset the mind. So the thing is, and I learned this very young, you might step into organizations or community groups or whatever, and you have a very strong sense of identity, and someone has a different opinion, a strong, or is anti, whatever it might be, and that can really have a deep effect on someone. But I say that it's important that you keep black betterment centered, meaning you're trying to help black people progress as a collective, and you have to understand that not everyone, for whatever reason, sorry about that, my fan is falling down. So not everyone's going to have the same opinion, but that takes nothing away from your efforts of what you are, what you want to be, or what you can be, and people's education shows them different. But also, and this is
Raven, your mic, Raven. Something going on with your mic. A lot of wind and feedback.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Fam, can you hear me now? Is it better?
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Sorry. because my machine's blown up, I had to put the fan on. But yeah, but what? Because my machine's just gonna blow any minute. But what I was saying is, yeah, and this is the hard. And I tried to explain to the sister, the biracial sister, and it's this thing where it's like there is a pain or a confusion or an anger or one of these things going on.
It's Willie Lynch, I think. It's the Willie Lynch syndrome. So that's what I personally think.
I hear that, Bradley.
It's a self-hatred type of separation type of devil tactic.
But what's important is this: if we can split the black group into, say, little, like, pockets. So you have African, Caribbean, Yoruba, biracial, or people of albinism, or whatever group you want to do, right? And one is going to express their experience, and then what happens? It triggers someone else's pain in some way. So it's like, they feel pain for being identified as that or seen as that, but we felt that ourselves, and it's almost like now we have to focus them, but no one's even seeing from out. And that's what I get a lot of. Like, I went through pain first, so they don't know my pain, and so I'm asking which group has to really like allow the person to express themselves and be merciful, right? And that's the kind of thing I was trying to explain to the sister on the show when she was saying that as a biracial person, she goes through more racism than, say, a darker skinned sister because she expressed prejudice from black people and racism.
She can't fit in, and she can't fit in. Basically, I'm mixed race. I know how she feel, but the main thing is you have to listen to your darker brothers and sisters. All my knowledge I have gained, everything I've gained in my life has been from my darker people. All of my peers, my close ones, like I love my people, and I know we have all shades. So I'm not someone that's kind of programmed how some mixed race children have been programmed, type of thing. I know my people. I know the oppression, and I know the demons, and that there's a lot of demons against us, and it's about us recognizing who we are. Picking up our albino brothers and sisters, picking up our mixed race brothers and sisters, picking up our darker brothers and sisters, and coming together as a collective and going at the oppressor, or however have you, building up our communities and so on. But when we're separating and labeling and titling each other, even the term black is a new term. So we need to really just collect our brothers and sisters and soldiers and hug each other and love each other and educate each other, because more time what we do is we go too hard on each other. We're quick to be violent with each other. We're quick to diss each other. Quick to say they, hint kushti, with all due respect. But yeah, like And
I want to say that's something that, that is something that I am aware of, as in the community where certain words use like we, they, them, and this kind of sounds like something else. But one thing I never want to do is other. And what I mean by that is the reason I use the ABC community and talk about community and collective and all that kind of stuff is recognizing that everyone's a member and everyone has a contribution and has a history and a story. And the question is, how do the community come together to find solutions? But naturally, there are some people who have gone through trauma or who are unsynchronized with what we're doing, and that's why I use a very controversial, shocking term of open door elitism, which and what that means is only a small number of people are going to want to do something, so it should only be with them. So the question is, the way brother is speaking now, clearly he's educated on many aspects of pro-blackness and black betterment and this kind of stuff, right? So naturally, if you're going to try to do any kind of institution based upon black people progressing, a brother like him would be a much more person to have around, as opposed to the sister who was still working out certain things in her mind about black people, or about anything really, towards blackness and stuff, right? Now, brother, you got something here. Do you want me to play that at any point? A video? I think you put another one. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's just about mixed race people being revolutionaries, and I've got a lot more, but it's not even really personally. For me, it's like having Huey P. Newton as a defense minister and founder of the Black Panther Party. That's good enough for me. Having Bob Marley with some of the most spiritual music from our land, that's good enough for me. I can celebrate mixed race, but the reason why I don't is because I celebrate my whole black people. It's not, I don't get into that divide and conquer type of mentality.
No, I agree. No. Something you're saying, I agree in the sense of like, as in like, you can celebrate people or who are biracial ancestry or mixed black ancestry, right? You can the people. But if you separate and you say this is just for them, and this was, and there is a movement. They did. There's a movement, and you might know more than me because I wouldn't be invited in those kind of circles. But there was a movement that came on, and I've come across a web page, a very small web page, and I've tried to interview the person who runs it, but and you probably will know who they are. I don't know, but so the first thing was a brother came on. He said the golden community, and his thing was, people of either mixed heritage or a golden skin tone. And it was giving me very blue veins kind of brown paper bag. And I'm not saying the brother is trying to do that. But unfortunately, whenever people try to maneuver today, you might find that you might be stumbled onto things that was done in the past. But the motivation behind these kind of things was of a people within the community who feel that they're feeling pain from outside the community and within inside the community and not knowing how to maneuver. Well, then one of the easiest things, well, let's just, gather our troops and form something new, which has been done before. But it was done for a different region historically in the past, right? Which we have covered on here as well. Is this mixed race only? No. The link. The brother Qatari is a guest, and he is in charge. But if he permits, then
no, of course, and this is my whole concept, right? Mixed race, and that's why I just played Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, because she said mixed race children are black. So of course, like, even the question, is this a mixed race panel? This is a black panel, baby. Like, jump on the thing. Like, this is for all of us, and this is why I'm here, is because I'm here to tell you guys, look, we have had mixed race leaders, we have had mixed race spiritual singers that's healing the nation. That is, mixed race is not the be end or end all. It's like, black is, our shades of black, the whole spectrum of black. And that's what's important. We should be celebrating all of our shades. Why are we only celebrating the dark shade? Why are we only celebrating albino shade, for example? We should be celebrating our whole color spectrum. We shouldn't be rubbing each other out. We got the golden panel. We've got the coffee panel. We've got the dark chocolate panel. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be doing, this is the black stage, and you're going to get all shades of our spectrum, respectfully. So anyone can come on, man. Like, tap in, get with it, people.
Thank you, brother. So yes, and so some of the people who actually have been contributors, and they have their own perspective, and they've done a lot of constructive work, and obviously people can just jump in and give their opinion. Was there any? Oh, we go. Empress Cushions. Oops, today isn't my cup of tea. Here's we got two. So before we come in, I know the sisters are well versed in discussion. We're going to try to keep it respectful as possible, and I'm sure they will. But I think what we're going to do is, sometimes when people say things, there's a misunderstanding of understanding.
Lost in translation.
Yeah, so we can get ironed out of what people mean and where they come from. So we're joining Empress Kush and Melanated Goddess to welcome back. These are sisters who've been on many times before. Welcome, Melanated Goddess and Empress Kush. Welcome back to the Black Biracial broadcast.
Black Betterment.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happened to Black Betterment? I've not been away that long, have I, bro, Raven?
Well, the funny thing is, my machine is playing up so bad that I can't even upload the PDF that I normally start with. So it's all getting bad out here. But you're right. We start in the show with Black Betterment, talk Black Betterment. So thank you, brothers.
See what happens when your sisters don't come on, bro.
Very
Standards.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to gather, because I came in about 15 minutes late. Is this a case study or is this a genuine discussion?
Genuine discussion.
Well, the back context before you joined was I made a show with Brother Jedi about identity, and there was a sister on there who was saying a lot about being.
I've seen the video.
Yeah. So with that, a lot of people have approached me and invited me to go on their shows, and Brother Qatari, he said that there were certain things that he wanted to unpack because it might have caused confusion, a bit upsetting, or misinformation. So I said, brother, we have a plan for the community. Come in and we can discuss it. So it's a discussion about that topic and how best to approach it and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I heard a lot of things that he said that I disagree with.
Never interjected on, because I disagree with as well, Brother Raven.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
We've had discussions before, and we've all been on the same page. So I don't get the change here now. Like, I think there was a lot of things that flagged on that I was just like, that's why I don't like. Is this a case study and letting like someone just say their views, or is this like you're agreeing like this is a discussion? So I know we've done different things before.
Yeah, well, everything has to be a case study either way, right? But Brother Qatari is new, and he's a person of one black parenting, and he's come from a standpoint of I guess there are many people, one black parent, biracial people who might think like the sister, but he's a brother who's kind of been raised around Francis Wilson ideology and stuff. So he's giving his perspective of, I guess, a more constructive output of what we heard from her, but at the same time, there were some things that he's saying that he found, he found alarming or not best practice, and he's expressing himself.
So what were those things that found alarming based from the Black Betterment perspective?
No, that was alarming.
So what was on
podcast that was mentioned? And
right, but alarming from.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, so identification is a difference. This is my opinion. There's a difference between identification and separation. There is a difference. One is identification is not harmful, and if it becomes harmful for a person to interpret this, that's a personal thing. That is their interpretation. But having appropriate identification is not an offense. It's not an insult. It's not derogatory, and I think it's dangerous when we put feelings over truth.
That's right.
Right? So a person who identifies as a woman, we don't just call them a woman, they call them a trans woman. They're a type of woman, right? So saying that someone is mixed race as opposed to calling them black is because it is the truth. They have a mixed race. That is not so. By identifying someone, calling them mixed, I'm not calling them ugly. I'm not calling them stupid. I'm not insulting them.
I understand.
I'm being accurate with it, because if you just call them black, right? Globally, calling them black means that they have two black parents.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So then what I heard was that calling them mixed race was separation.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not separation. And you bringing up Frances Cress Welsing, who is an American, and saying that is her way of seeing race and race relations is a global definition. That's also inaccurate, because in America we have the one drop rule. So she's speaking about people who have a one drop rule. Globally, there is no one drop rule, right? So this is why you have people can be mixed in mulatto or whatever terminology, and it's not deemed offensive in their country.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hearing from you, brother, is that's division, that's separation. No, they still live as people of African descent. So the mulattoes, they know how to do libation. They know how to do. They carry on with their. But they also there's another aspect of them. They have a whole other parent from a different race, and they shouldn't have to tone that down, dismiss it, ignore it. If you have an Irish mother, you want to acknowledge Ireland, and you want to. That's good for you. That's part of your identity.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But that's not black. See? So I'm not wrong by saying that's not black.
That's right.
So if a mixed race person tells me that they're black, I just listen. Okay, you black. Mm-hmm. That's what you feel like black, you black. But if you want to ask me, when I look at Mariah Carey, do I see a black woman? Absolutely not. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at Jennifer Hudson, I see a black woman. When I look at Nia Long, I see a black woman. And I cannot, in good sound mind, look at Mariah Carey, look at these two women and say that they are both black women.
What about Sade? What about Sade? How do you see Sade?
I don't know. It's a question mark To be honest with you, it's the question mark.
What about Bob Marley? How do you see Bob Marley?
Question mark.
Okay, and Huey P. Newton? Question mark.
I don't even know. I can't. I don't know what he looks like.
He's a mixed race brother, and he's in America.
I mean, if he looks mixed race, then he's mixed race, brother. That's not doesn't mean he can't. He has like I don't get calling a person mixed race. Like what I'm hearing is that if I don't call you black, then you're out of the fold. You're just not black. You're mixed. Like that's it. That's not a bad thing. If I had a white mom, I wouldn't want somebody to be like, I'm only black. I'm partially white. That's the reality of it. I have a white grandma. I got 2 white grandparents. You see what I'm saying? I got aunties and uncles that's white. I got cousins that it's no way. So when you ask that question about a light-skinned person's experience and a black and a big mixed race person's experience, a light-skinned person's experience, they don't have white grandparents. They don't have white uncles and aunts. They don't have white cousins. How could their experience be the same? That's crazy to me. Just because you light-skinned, like in America, lots of people are light-skinned, but they have black experiences in their home, not in the street, in their home. They don't have European influences inside of their home because they don't have a white parent.
Let's unpack that for a second, because a gentleman made a comment earlier, someone in the comments, lady, gentleman, and he said how a light-skinned person, right, that's black, light-skinned black, can't have the same experience as a mixed-race child. Biracial.
I just gave you the example. I literally just said, if you have a white grandparents, right?
Sister.
Like my grandmother was very influential in my life. So if I had a white grandma, how is my experience the same as having a black grandma?
Well, let the brother speak, sister. I think he wanted to land.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point.
Go ahead, brother.
The point I was going to say, Melanated Goddess, is that a lot of people will say the experience is different, right? If a light skin that has 2 black parents and he's light skinned, same tone as a mixed race person, right? But if he's in a black home, right, grown up in a black home, his experience, people are saying, will be different to a biracial child, right? But I'm saying this is if, for example, the biracial child that's mixed race is brought up in a black home with one of his black parents, is it still going to be different to a child that has 2 black parents? That's what I'm saying.
Raven, you agreed with him on that point. You said that they're going to have the same experience. So you believe a child that's raised in a home with a black mum and a black dad has the same experience at home with a child raised with a...
Let's do it this way, Empress.
Let's
say it's a single parent.
Hold on.
Just say it's a single parent.
Can you hear my voice?
She was just talking.
Now, I know I've not been around for a long time. I don't know if the rules got laid down here because it technically should be, but especially when black sisters are talking, we kind of respect them here and we try not to interrupt each other. So I was just going to direct my question to Raven, and then after that, you can feel free to come in. So Raven, I'm just double checking here, right? Because that's what just had me just floored. Because saying that, because he must be referring to my comment because I made it very clear. If this is what I'm talking about in a household, that a young child raised with a black mother and father, a constructive black mother and father, has the same experience in a household as a person raised by one black parent and another other.
I don't think that
experience.
Sis, I don't think that's what he said. That he can jump in after.
Well, that's what I said in my comment.
Yeah.
So if he's referring to my comment, I made it very clear that the house and the lifestyle is different.
No, I think what the brother was trying to give a combination answer where he's saying if there is
let's ask him so you're not talking for him.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. And thank you, Empress Kush. I don't mean like 2 parents compared to 1. That's not what I'm saying. I'm more meaning a child that's had 2 black parents, has 2 black parents, but let's say it's a single parent that raised them. Then you've got the same on the other side, a biracial mixed race child, and he has 1 black parent. Wouldn't the experience be the same?
So you're saying that if they're in a single parent household with the black parent?
Yeah. And I just want us to unpack, on that, the reasons as to why not and stuff like that, just respectfully,
I'll let Mel start and then I'll answer after.
Because their experience is different. I mean, we see people where it's fair skin, right? Like a lighter complected, two black parents who might be light skinned, and they have a child, and that child, a child who has a light skinned parent, right? And the child is fair skinned. Their experience is different from experience of someone who's dark skinned. There's already a difference from within just black people. So whether or not the white parent or the non-black parent is present or not, they still like I have pictures of my paternal grandmother, even though I don't spend time with my father. There's no way I have family members who are you have a whole nother side from your black side. That is your upbringing is going to be different. What happens when you're in school when you're doing projects? What are they going to do? Draw a black father that's not really black? You can't undo who you are. We're not talking about someone with admixture. 8 generations ago, 15 generations ago. We're talking about your immediate parent is not black. There's no way in the world that your experience and a fully black man's experience are going to be the same. It's not the same at work. It's not the way in school. It's not the way at the doctor's office. It's just not the same. And it's very respectful when that is acknowledged instead of minimized. For a person who's mixed race to tell me that their experience is the same as mine, you're minimizing my experience in order to inflate yours. That's disrespectful.
That's definitely not the case.
All right, I'm going to mute.
Thank you. So before the brother and sis jumps in, I think what was the picture that I was trying to paint was a unique thing where you're saying that if you describe black households, you're saying that one black household has a black parent and a black and white, a male and a mother and father who are black, while one other household, a unique scenario where it's just one black parent because the other one is not there.
That's right. But let's make it fairer on the other side with the black child. They've got one parent. Let's say they both got one.
That's what I clarified. Yeah. He said they're both on some single parents. That's what I mean. I think it's kept on changing since the perception. But this is a new one, and I think for me, that one's a tricky one. I think because, okay, so I'm going to need to have space to clarify this, yeah? So just please give me the room, yeah? So in regards to the fact that the adult in this scenario is black, and they're gonna, and we have to put a lot of assumptions, yeah? So I'm assuming that this is a constructive black parent, a pro-black parent. Am I correct in saying that, Katari?
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to only educate their child in that sense. But then again, I don't know, because again, saying that a parent is a pro-black parent, but then they had a child with someone who's not black, I don't know if that's changed recently, but we've always gone by the rule that that's not technically pro-black. So maybe they could teach them in the essence of, because you have people who have relationships with people outside of race, and they say that they still have self-pride, right? They might not be pro-black, but it doesn't mean they hate their blackness. So in that kind of dynamics, I could see that the black person raising their child, I'm not necessarily sold on the point that they're going to be a militant pro-black if they went outside of the race initially. So I'm not sure if that is then going to trickle down, because there's going to be a lot of questions, right? Like you're preaching a pro-black sentiment to a child, but and the child is aware that they're half white and they don't have that representation there because they're only in the household of the black parent, right? So I think that those dynamics, I think again, I don't know how much that could add up doing it that way, saying that like this is a pro-black parent now doing that with their pro-black child and saying all of that unapologetically, knowing that other parent that child has is white. I don't know, but I can see someone as a black person who I know we've heard of people who have come up on here. I'm sure Raven knows a lot of them who say that although I'm dating now, I'm very proud of being Black. And I think in that sense, they can have a household where, you know, Saturday soup, you know, having the culture of their Caribbean, having a culture of the African descent, like just being around that, understanding certain dynamics, cues, because their parents do it, understanding if the parent is a mum, understanding Black women a bit easier because their mother is Black. So understanding the culture a bit more because the only thing that you're growing up is within that culture, then I can see that. Again, in the other pet on the other side, although that person is still single and Black, their partner is Black. That child knows that the other person, even though they're absent, is Black. So I do think that they'll be raising the culture and everything else. But I do think, like as Mel said, once life kicks in, you go to school, there's dynamics, conversations are going to be had. And I don't know if we can just like what Mel says, just say, oh, it's all one. It's just all one, because you're not allowing for the little nuances that can happen and the different things that we face as parents with Black children who are obviously Black. There ain't no question and there ain't no nothing compared to that child who is visibly mixed. They're not going to have the same experience out in the real world.
So
that's all I was trying to say.
You've done very eloquently. Thank you, sisters. I would say this as well, and I think it was something I've said on the actual podcast with Jenna as well, right? And that is the sister. A minute ago did say that regardless of what the word is used, the outcome isn't that the individual described is not within the Black community or cannot participate in, pro-Black stuff, whatever it is, right? So that's important, because some people say that, by the words that's used, that means that person is out and can't do nothing, and that's important to say. And one thing as well
right.
is, say again, sister, am I wrong?
No, I'm saying you're right. They are still part of the fold. They're just a different. It's like it's just a different type of person within the fold.
Let me carry on, and the reason I say it is because there are different collections, and even women collections. There is different variables and variations, right? So on that same podcast, the sister asked me, said, "Well, Raven, you're lighter than Jedi. So are you saying because you're lighter than Jedi that you're gonna have different experiences?" And I said, "Yes. Yeah, being lighter, we've got the studies. A darker person is more likely to face certain kind of thing. There's also other dynamics, being a man, being a woman, being bigger, being smaller, being in this land, being that land. But we understand overall there's certain collective criteria that make certain realities harder. And I think what you sometimes, brother, I could talk, what you might be getting kickback on is when you're talking about being a part of the fold. I think some people are trying to talk about an experience that that is unique with a word that they're describing, right? And I think sometimes they might feel that experience isn't being heard if that word isn't used, and that's what I'm observing. But that doesn't take someone or fault. It doesn't minimize someone's truth or pain. It just means that this is how things are worded because of a reality that people are aware of.
I agree, and that's the reason why I come and wanted to speak to the people today, because this is not necessarily about how let's play a mixed race victim type of game, let's cry about my cry. It's not really about that. I just wanted to kind of enlighten what the podcast was about and what I felt the kind of how the perception was kind of misconstrued. And the thing is, it's more that the internet is a weapon. And it can be weaponized. There can be certain things that said a child could hear it, and then they won't know the whole depth of things. So I just wanted to come and bring just a Black mixed race perspective on things, and not to say that my experience is the same as anyone else's. That's not that. I'm only saying I'm just giving you guys other thoughts. Like that's why when I say you get a single Black parent and then a mixed race, when I'm giving you guys just other thoughts and that of how things are and stuff like that, because we seem to have one perspective on mixed race children are this way, or they're all for the white man, or you know, we have these kind of different analogies on things, and I just think, you know, it's always good to hear different sides of the coin, you know.
Well,
I did say that I came.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, sister.
I did say that I came in late, so so I just want to clarify some things, if that's cool with you.
Go ahead, sister.
So Qatari, you're of mixed heritage, but
That's
but
correct,
you
yes.
classify yourself as black.
100%, yes.
Okay, and would you classify yourself as a pro-black or black first or B1, however you say it? Do you?
I'm pro-black. I've always been pro-black. But I am pro-humanity also. Like, and you know, I think sometimes when you do, I wouldn't say play neutral, but when you do care about the human race and everybody, and you just, it's like Bob Marley said, you know, love type of thing. So, you know, of course, it's pro-black. Of course, like my girl,
Okay.
my queen is sleeping next door. She's black. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So
I love to hear that. Okay.
But
I do want to. Go on.
Sorry, Empress. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I more wanted to touch on our spectrum and beautifulness of black. The you know, the right away of shades that we have. We have coffee black, toffee. You know, we have all different types of shades, and that's what I wanted to touch on that and just show that it should be love with us, and there's too much like separations, and you're half caste, you're mixed race, you're light skin, you know, it's just. And that's what I wanted to kind of touch on. But sorry.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. So on Jedi's thing, what is it? What aspects of it you didn't like, or you'd like to clarify?
There was quite a lot being said, because like Raven said, there's like 7-10 things being said at once.
Yeah.
There's some underlining facts, then there's some underlining like.
So give me your top 3 that bugged you the most.
One that did bug me and stand out to me was the one when Jeds, God bless him, he said how mixed race people can't speak for black people. Now I do hear that, and I do kind of agree to that to an extent. But then when we've had people like Huey P. Newton, that was the founder and defense minister of the Black Panthers, and he was mixed race, that needs to be told, that needs to be celebrated. We need to have real facts on things, you know. But
so as a mixed race, so I hear where you're coming on that perspective.
But Jedi is in London, and you keep bringing up in America. So yes, black people embrace mixed race people, but the country did not allow mixed race people not to be categorized as black. It's not that black people said, out of the goodness of our hearts, we just gonna count y'all as black. The Europeans counted them as black. So when you're taking the paradigm from one place and applying it to a place that didn't have that same conditions. That's what I'm saying. So like Huey P. Newton was considered as black because in America, if you have a drop of black, you're black.
Of course.
Don't. So you can't. So you have to apply it to the context that it's the rules of the land that made Huey P. Newton be considered black.
Right. But
I'm not saying that anything's bad about him or anything like that, but that part isn't clear. I mean, you're saying you agree now that I brought that up, but it wasn't clear.
What I'm trying to say, Melanated Goddess, is just because he's over in America doesn't mean that I'm mixed race in America and then and over here I'm something different. Like it's the same genetically. It's the same thing. It's like Bob Marley was mixed race, Huey P. Newton was mixed race. What's the difference of me being?
But you're talking about genetically. So if you're talking, in one context, see, it's shifting context. One minute it's a social context, right? And then it goes to shift to genetic. Because if we're staying on genetics, then everyone would agree that Bob Marley is mixed. He's not black, right? But socially, Bob Marley is received as a black man. Yeah. Socially, to me, but he's not. But he's not genetically black, right?
He is to me though, and to Dr. Francis.
To me, genetically, no. Her saying black is social. You can't. If 50% of your DNA is white, you can't call someone black. That doesn't make any sense.
And Melanated Goddess, I'm not trying to cut in here, Queen, but the thing is melanin is stronger than a white gene. So when you get a white parent and then you get a black parent and they have a child, the melanin is always stronger. Well, maybe not always, because you can sometimes have a very light child, but majority of the time, the melanin is always winning. So I shouldn't be in America, I'm black or I'm mixed race, and then over in the UK, I'm something different. It's the same, you know. That's
brother. Now, because these conversations I've had many times, right? And I was my thing is to try to find ways to make our collective constructive thought. And the problem is opinions and where the opinions come from is always going to differ depending on the time zone and the country, right? But what I would say is Bob Marley, regardless of whether he had one white parent, one black parent, his actions, his consistent actions, and what he was connected to, makes the world look at him as an amazing black contributor and black person, right? Because he was a Pan-Africanist, he was a Rastafarian, you know, he promoted songs about black love and this kind of stuff, right? So that means his actions spoke louder than anyone else's words. And one thing I'm trying to get with the Black Burman as a collective and as people practice lifestyle is if we put our actions first, yeah, then that will speak for us regardless, because like I said, there is a spectrum of black, and that's because of what history has done, right? As in we have people who are of African descent, people of Caribbean descent, and then that people might try to use that as a separation where biology is no longer the topic, it's answers, it's culture and lineage and how long you've been in the land, and people, and some people have points whatever, and there's always something. Or there might be a person who is they have admixture from many different generations ago, but it's still dormant in their phenotype because it hasn't left because of lineage, and does that count here? And all this is amazing stuff. But I think one of the things from my research is actions are important, as in what is it that the person's doing who identifies or identified as black. And that's why you might find a brother like Bob Marley who has one white parent but has more contribution to black betterment than someone like is it Colin Powell, that general who's trying to get Tory in America. I assume he has a white wife. I can't.
Langley.
Yeah, Langley. We won't be able to cover him this week, but we're going to cover him maybe next week, whatever. But I need to do more than him. But I suspect, I could be wrong, I suspect that brother has a white wife. But and that's not me being funny. That's just me saying that there's an MO of like I said, you said you see yourself, brother. You said that you've been raised pro-black and constantly you find yourself a black queen. Well, that seems to be a normal thing when you've been raised around that. But then there's some people who have two black parents who are self-sabotaging and have been raised in an anti-black way, where it makes sense for them to undermine black people everywhere they go. All right, so there is who is black, who isn't black, and phenotypically black and genetically black, which is a very important conversation. But I think one of the most important things is the black community, as in the ABC community. What are the constructive people doing? And when the constructive people come together, how do we resolve things for the collective betterment of our people group? And that is always the bigger question that we struggle, because, and I know people don't like me saying this, and people try to get, when I say trauma and tactics are important. When we are talking about certain things, it sometimes does dip into trauma, as in something was said that reminds you of this and I feel a certain way, and that's important. But sometimes it's about if you're within the community, regardless of what you are not called, but you qualify to be in the community. Bob Marley cannot be kicked out of the black community, right? Yeah, he can't be.
But this is the like.
Go ahead, sister.
Like, I just want us to stop and think, yeah, in the black discussion, where has the black plight been centered here?
In this discussion?
Just, yeah, when we open it up like this, have you noticed, like, if it was in levels where like what I'm asking falls under? Because I don't think you have to, like, number one, if everyone has said the same thing, that factually, if a person is from two different parents, factually, scientifically, if there was a problem now and I'd have to give blood, they'd have to check the blood, right? We know all of this. We know what the facts are, and we've all said that what they say they are is it. And like I would say, Raven, maybe you can talk to this after I've finish off the initial question that I want to ask Qatari.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think like when I remember in the video of Jedi, that question specifically got asked, and then I noticed that Qatari especially asked you, and I do feel that you just saying that they are black and so saying they are what they choose caused a lot of problems, even on Jedi's panel. I think had you have said you are how you want to be and how you say you show up in this world, I think a lot of that confusion would have been cut out. But you could talk to that after. And then Qatari, what I was trying to say to you about the show that we're discussing, right? You're saying that you didn't like the idea of when Jedi said that
persons. No, I respected it. I respect it because.
Oh no, sorry. You just said that you don't agree. So let me take that out.
Like it's a half and half. It's a half and half. I understand and I respect
on it because you were saying it's all about Huey P, Hugh Earn, and you were saying that you don't agree. So, do you agree or you don't agree? Sorry.
I agree with what? Sorry, your
the point question. Of mixed race people shouldn't be able to talk on behalf of black people.
I think it's a beautiful question. I think it's a fantastic topic. It's a beautiful discussion, and this is a discussion that we need to have, and we should have had this. I feel, and this is why I bring up Huey P. Newton, because he was the founder of the Black Panther Party and the defense minister of black people, and he was mixed race. So, regardless if he's in America, London, that was a movement that happened, and we need to look at all aspects because it's great that Jedi said that. Speaking from a darker brother and darker queen's perspective. But then the other perspective is, hang on, we've got Huey P. Newton that has been and gone.
Let me add to that because I've got notes that I keep forgetting. And what it is, and this is very important, very important, right? That one of the things that we always try to do is center blackness in everything we do and make sure that the black community benefits from everything we do, right? So with brothers like P. Newton and some of the other brothers, their actions were centering black people. In the UK, one of the problems, the anxiety problem, issues we have is you might have a show about black people progressing, a black something, and then there might be people there who identify, like the sister you saw last week. They don't want to or can or should identify as black, and that's step one. But step two, everything they say is anti-black, meaning that they don't support black people marrying black people. They don't support black economics. They're highly critical of black people doing certain things, but they're not highly critical of Europeans doing certain things, right? Or white people doing certain things.
I understand the perspective you're coming with.
Yeah. Now, under that paradigm, I suspect much of the conversation is from that. Like, if Bob Marley and
that's Huey the reality, basically. We had a Huey P. We haven't had much since. We've had an Akala. UK hasn't really seen an Akala since. Yeah, I've been begging Raven to bring on an Akala. Raven's been opening up, wanting to look for an Akala. We ain't found an Akala since.
This guy, maybe brother Qatari might be upon that kind of and he seemed, if he's studying Francis Cresswellian and
hold on, bro.
Go ahead.
Hold on, bro.
I'm not jumping the gun. I'm just saying that. You know, I'm just saying maybe the wishes have come true. Yeah. Yeah. And please forgive our banter, brother. Because what
please, because like I was gonna say, I do have banter with you.
Good. So. Yeah, you're good. I know. I'm trying to, this is all fine. This is knowledge and information. This is for all of us.
And I don't want it to come across like I'm very for my people. Do you understand? So, and we've had these kind of conversations over and over again to the point where I don't have the kind of grace that Raven has. Yeah, I mean, I have a different kind of fire. I can have grace, but certain things now I feel like we've seen it so many times, especially core set type of certain people's here. We've seen things so many times that it's actually absolute at this point. So if I see another scenario where we know where it's going to go and then we act surprised or we act like we don't know, that can be a bit frustrating on my side. But on the topic of that and what you just said with Raven, right, and what just got brought up, and then you agreed with what Raven said, right? So the point of the mixed race people speaking for black people, right? We've had certain greats. Those people have kind of like come, they've done their time. Just because that person was great does not mean that all mixed race people reflect on that person. right?
Absolutely.
And what we have to look at, especially on that show was a beautiful show to demonstrate the truth. Yeah. If someone watches it from beginning to end, right? Because to me, you had two people of mixed heritage on there. And as Raven said, every aspect to build the Black community was knocked or shut down. I feel like a lot of it was a lot of emotion. I felt like they centered their feelings. I felt like they couldn't put their feelings out of it to listen to what Jedi was actually trying to say to them. And when you see something like that as a Black brother, right, Qatari, right, when you see something like that from two mixed heritage people, and remember why Jedi said, see, this is why it can't happen, because at that point the lady on there was talking on behalf of Black people and was talking absolute rubbish to the point of it was offensive. And now if this person gets selected on media and now gets presented as this is the Black voice, there's a problem there, Qatari. Now, if there was a person who was a Huey P. Newton, there would not be a problem because he's a Black brother. But if someone who starts off saying, I'm not Black, I'm mixed race, then starts to proceed to tell you why you're in the problem that you are, Black people, and then on top of that say, well, I can do this and speak for you, that is a problem. That is a big problem. And Black people as a community, you know, when I say Black people, I'm including everyone who classifies themselves as Black, needs to have that open dialect. Because what needs to be centered is Blackness, not feelings, not anything else. Do you understand what I'm saying, Qatari?
I do. I'm following you. I'm with you. 100%.
I just want to give props to Empress Kush for giving the information.
Me too.
Very important, as usual. Let me add to that as well. That's important, and that is that within communities there are communities, and if you're seeing an abundance from a mainstream standpoint of certain representation done unjustly or doing damage, it is more powerful and stronger for other people who share similar background, phenotype, or grounding to come in and speak. No, we are the Afro-centered variants of you, so we don't want you to paint a picture. Now, me personally, you'll note that when I go on certain shows, I say I talk very strongly about Black men. So rather than trying to always bring Black people, Black women, I talk about Black men, and that comes from many things that Black men are not doing, that maybe other men are doing, and me actually want to try to correct that, but centering men in that solution, right? As in, like, as men, we can do this for the community. And I think that if you are part of any group within a group, if you see any behavioral pattern that doesn't work for the greater group, there is more powerful for to see if that show, if we had a biracial brother sister saying, brother, what are you talking about? Like, this is completely unsynchronized. Like, who started? Where did you learn this from? And then you dissecting what they're doing and what might come from there, and you're aware of this kind of thing. But here's how we tackle it. Then that is very powerful to see. So Bob Marley and Huey P. and I might get my tongue tied now. Those brothers there, they demonstrated a consistency to Black centeredness, right? And that is what we recommend, as in, like, for any brothers of a biracial background or one Black parent background to see that and speak strongly on that, as in, like, this behavior doesn't work for the collective best interest of Black people, and here's what does.
Can I add something too? I think there's something to be said about our unique experiences, right? Yes. I feel like when it is time to get feedback on how Black skin responds to certain treatments, or how our hair, the imagery and promoting a product. You're promoting a product for Black hair, but you have models who are of mixed heritage. I feel like that that person can't speak for me. That person can't speak for how that's going to respond to me, how my hair is going to respond to the product, right? So when we say mixed race people can't speak for us, they can't be the image of us. They can't be the representation of us. And it's and also I can't be the representation of a product that would respond best for their hair texture and their skin tone. And if they're talking about how does this particular practice affect Black children in school, then there's a different experience of like I have friends who have mixed race children, right? And their children have a different experience in school than my child did, right? So they might need different type of advocacy. They might have different talking points, different things that they would like to bring to the agenda that is specific and unique and also important, that's specific to mixed race children. Just like there may be specific and unique issues that are related to fully Black children, right? So when we say they can't be speak for us, like to me, when if you feel like that's a problem with that statement, then that means that all of our issues are the same. All of our unique attributes aren't really unique at all, and they're my hair is just like their hair, and my skin is just like their skin, and we're all just one big mush all together. That's actually not real. And I think that once we move our feelings out of it, you would be able to say like, yeah, I guess that's really true. That makes sense. It's not about being offensive. It's like I actually have a family member. Her mom is related to me. Her mom is a Black woman. Her mom has 2 Black parents and 4 Black grandparents and blah blah blah, right? Her father is not Black. And her father wasn't the person that raised her, X, Y, and Z. She grew up in a Black home. We were fully grown when I realized that there are times, I don't know what that means, but she said that there's times when she doesn't feel Black. She doesn't feel fully Black. And it's because, she could be chilling with me at my house and we are like 2 Black women just hanging out. And then she goes to work and random people start talking to her in Spanish. So she can't undo her phenotype. Even though all she knows is oxtails and rice and peas, and all she knows is patois, and all she knows is that doesn't matter. Like, she can't undo the fact that she belongs to, at least partially, to another group. And I was like, really? You don't feel Black? And she said, I mean, sometimes, but sometimes I don't. That's her unique experience. I can't just be like, well, you got a Black daughter. You only talk to Black dudes. That's true. She only talks to Black men. She had a child with a Black man. But still, the experience is just different. Different doesn't mean bad. So we just got to get out of our feelings that, I'm not saying you are in your feelings, brother. I'm saying to be people listening, we don't have to, like, it doesn't mean, different doesn't mean bad. That's my point.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what the sister said, because that was powerful. And I just want to say, Katari, as well, like, is from time you said that you affiliate yourself as a Black man, I see you as a Black brother, so I hope you come back on there and you feel welcome, yeah? But I hope you understand the dynamics between us having a discussion with you and the dynamics that we saw on the show that we're discussing. And specifically between the people of mixed heritage. On here, I feel like Jedi and Raven, of course Raven would be true to type, because that's his MO. He's always going to respect family, like, period. But I feel like Jedi as well was really trying to be respectful and stuff like that. Although, yeah, he was putting in these jabs and doing what he's doing, because like what Raven said about the dirty work, I really do feel that he was trying to be respectful in the best way. I know I know that Raven was, and yet still I saw a lot of emotion, a lot of counter reaction, a lot of telling black people that they're wrong in their experience, in their truth, in what they're saying, even though they're really trying to articulate it.
That's right.
While I'm on a panel with you, I felt a bit combative with you in the comments, but True says internet, you don't know me from Adam. Like, I get it, but now that we're on a panel and I've still been very direct with you, with like love and respect, because you're a brother, but I have still been direct with you, and I don't feel that it's been the same kind of dynamics, right? So I don't know if you're gonna agree with that, but I'm saying that's how I feel.
I totally agree with you, and
all right.
I feel that.
So hold on. So on that point, right then, brother, what I'm saying to you is, in dynamics where, if we're talking about how to make things better, it's understanding your position in any group that you step into. Yeah. So hear me out on this, right? So like Mel said, there's loads of different scenarios. And to be honest, with us as a black people, we can't, like, you can have two black people and their hair could be a loose curl and a kink curl.
That's right.
The blacks sistering with the loose curl, with the black first mindset, understands that we're in a white structure, the society, and all that comes with it, compared to her sister with the kinkier curl. When there's an opportunity to talk about black hair, that sister with the looser curl says, you know what, I can do it. That's great. It's a bag, it's a job. But you know what I suggest you do? Bring on 2 extra sisters with the hair that's more
tight curls, more
tighter curls.
Yeah.
And but those tighter curls are more proportion of the black population.
That's right.
If you're selling to the black population, have a model that looks like the majority of them, right? Like what the 90% is, right? Because I feel like we're everywhere and we are all shapes. But you know what I mean? With the kinkier hair, my hair is not necessarily what you'd find from a black person with 2 black parents. So I'll be on there because I need to be represented as well. But let me bring that on. Do you understand what I mean in them kind of dynamics?
That's where I'm coming from as well.
Right. Somebody, the reactions that I was getting from them, where you're not acknowledging that there's like privilege, you're not acknowledging the struggles of black people. I'm no way going to feel comfortable for any of them to represent me, because when you're having a conversation on a black man's panel with black people, telling you how they feel, knowing that it's going out to the world, you're so flippantly shutting it down, disregarding it, and sometimes being disrespectful. In fact, being very disrespectful.
Definitely.
Being very offensive.
Definitely. I wasn't here to defend her. That's my thing.
And I'm glad that you said that and made that clear.
Yeah, right? I was never here to defend her. Everybody speak for themselves, and everybody has their own.
Exactly. But what I'm saying to you, bro, sometimes we have to step out of the box and understand that even within black people with 2 black parents, sometimes there's a time in certain dynamics that I have to sit back and shut up. I'm just there for the support, because I know that might not necessarily be my plight. Just like the lady with, just like the sister with the looser curls in the hair argument. You see it? Just like the person from mixed heritage, when we're talking about the dynamics of privilege. Listen to what your family members are saying to you that happens when we are both out facing the real world. Listen to how it is different. And the one thing I have noticed as well is that when Jedi spoke about the black man experience, the mixed heritage brother on there didn't deny it, actually agreed with a lot of stuff when it comes to mandem kind of things. I don't know if you noticed. Yet there was no way that the cisgen could just see anything, yet alone towards black sisters. So there is so many dynamics in that, right? So in certain essence, the brother of mixed heritage, he saw his privilege in certain things, and then she was come back in on him, and he was like, well, no, that does kind of happen. Like, I've seen that. So this is what I mean. And within all this confusion, guess what the black people, 2 black parents are doing? They have to tread lightly. Tread lightly. Can't talk about this. Got to say it this way. These times it's supposed to be a black discussion. Do you think the actual topic of whatever needs to be discussed, if all of these people were in a room, Katari, I'll end with this, yeah? If all of those people were in the room, yeah, and there was a problem with something dynamic like Ibrahim Traoré, Do you think Ibrahim Traoré, do you think they're going to come up with a solution in there? Do you think if those black people in a group had to deal with any kind of topic that is like what we do on here, that's dealing with a black topic, it will get done? If all you're doing is centering about all of the stuff that affects you and you don't even know what, when you want to call black, what is black, this, that, and the black. We are so busy having to tread foot on this that the actual black discussions are not actually getting done.
About. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. And for someone who loves their people, that gets frustrating. And I'm just going to leave it there, cause I don't want to just keep going.
You're good, because yeah, like I agree with you 100% with everything you're saying. Everything's meant to be black centered. This is why when I was trying to make a point of saying that mixed race children, we come under the black spectrum, right? That's what I was trying to say. That's why I bring Dr. Francis Cresswell in. I'm not saying that I'm the darker skinned brother, or I'm not trying to give a mixed race perspective. That obviously we all have different experiences, right? Even as human beings. But I wasn't trying to defend the podcast with that mixed race sister on. I wasn't trying to do that. I was more trying to clarify things for us and more bring the balance and the spectrum of different shades and stuff, you know, because everything needs to be black centered though. That's the thing. And I totally agree with that.
Thank you, brother. And big up to Melee Goddess and Empress Kush for you know just the
Thank you for having us.
Of course, I would say and I think Empress Kush really put really well there about the mindset of the person who's got the opportunity and how they are centered in blackness and how they bring the more important or the less viewed topics to hand. And what I would say when it comes to representation, one thing I would say though, and this is to on Mele Goddess's point, is yes, there's going to be people who might be slightly different or of more of a minority look or feel, but the idea is a compensatory way of seeing things. So if they are getting into power, are they trying to represent the greater number or who haven't had that kind of exposure? And that's important, because if you don't have a black centered mind, what will happen is just like I think I gave a analogy to at the time where about marriage, right? Where I was saying that if you don't have a template of what is best when it comes to marriage for the black community, you'll have 10 black scholars or whatever it is go to get their awards on the black awards, and all 10 of those men will have white wives, because you haven't centered the importance of black families and black people picking within their group. And that means there's no campaigns to make that a reality. When I think it was Ebony Mag or something like that, and we did a case study on the history of Ebony Mag and the importance of it, but they had some a cover, and the cover said, "Are black women just getting more beautiful?" Something like this. And there was like maybe 15 pictures of sisters, but all of them were light skinned, and they all had European weave styles and this kind of stuff, right? And this kind of stuff. And it was like, back then they might have known. Well, they would have noticed, but it wouldn't have been an issue. Yeah, but it's like there's no way you can have a magazine that talk about blackness and black people, and you haven't got a dark cis sister on there representing the beauty standards of a community, without being even the dominant number. Not even them, not even the dominant number. They're not even, and that is something that we will always see if we don't center blackness in our conversations. And what the sisters and brothers are trying to do is center blackness in things we're doing. And if we come against opposition like we did with the sister, is how do we correct her kindly, but to say that unfortunately she's disqualified herself from even being considered serious because she has thrown away her black card. And when it comes to representation of the collective Batman, in that sense.
I agree. I agree. You ask someone, "Oh, tell me a black woman that's beautiful," and they're like, "Beyonce." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, they don't really fond of black features. They're fond of people who have African ancestry. but they like an ambiguous looking black woman. That's kind of that's
Let me add.
Can I just say something as well, though, please? I know you might want to wrap it up soon. And this is why I don't like. This is why, even though I banter with Raven, I do want an Akala to jump on. Do you understand? Because, excluding this conversation, which is credit to you, Qatari, most conversations that I have, it gets combative and then it gets perceived. Because something that you did say, which I totally agree with you, is that whatever you put out there on the atmosphere is important. Little kids are watching this, and if it doesn't get corrected, they start taking on this delusion. We've seen this with, the man versus women and other things. It's so important. Us of certain mindset, be mindful of that, right? So I do appreciate you saying that. So, but I do feel that because, like I've said to you, to be honest with you, I've not had an Akala conversation, and with a person like that on this panel, so it tends to come off combative. But in my real world, as I say all the time, so I want to make sure I say this to you, I have people that are like my family who are of mixed heritage, but if you ever were to say that to you, if that anyone would actually say that to them, I would run, yeah, because they are 100% black, yeah, and that's how I see them. That's how they move. That's how they move. That's how they move. That's how they talk. That's how they act. It's in their spirit. It's just them. Yeah. And I'm not saying that if somebody, for example, when there's in the UK, there's this lady who is of mixed heritage, but she's always up and center when anything goes off. I can't remember her name, which is bad of me, but she's always front and center. I'm not sitting there saying, well, she's mixed race. Why is she talking for black people? I'm not one of her number one fans, right? But she does, because the fight that she's fighting for, she has every right to, because she's a black woman and she can take space. She can center herself in that space. She understands that. She centers herself in that space. She centers herself in a space, and that space is of, these are my people. I am black and you've offended us. I'm fighting you back. Do you understand? Just like the person of the looser curls understands her spot in her space. Do you understand? And we all do that. All of us. It's not just mixed heritage. That's what I want to make very clear. All of us have this dynamic within our culture. All of us. There could be, it's not just black, It could be Caribbean versus this. It could be this island, small island versus big island. We've got so much stuff, religion. Like, there's so many times when us if we say that we're black first, we have to know when to talk, when to just be a silent support. Do you understand? And I'll think that in that dynamic, if someone of mixed heritage said, you know what, actually, hold on, I think we're centering ourselves here. The brother's just talking about something that's a real fact. And it's not just him. We know this happens to them, but that wasn't there. So if that's all that's represented, it's been expected that the black community is like, these people cannot talk for me. They have no clue of my life. And they're arrogant. You're telling me what it is. You're telling me how to move. Do you know, that's very reminiscent of another race we're trying to fight. It's very condescending.
It's very disrespectful.
Thank you.
Very disrespectful. And that's the thing, because, and it's true, she cannot speak for darker skinned people. That's what it should have been. Is she's trying to speak for probably of all skin tones. I think that's what got lost in translation, when really she can speak for that spectrum of the black culture, because you're that tone. You can't speak for the darker sisters, like Melanated Goddess was saying. And this is where I understand Melanated Goddess. I've got my brethren that say the same thing. The dark-skinned people are not celebrated. The dark-skinned people are the ones that are the most oppressed, obviously. But again, we have, there's a lot of shades to black. And this is what I think where we're all getting lost in translation, and where there's all the titles on top of things and the separation, like you're this tone, that tone, when we are, it's a beautiful color we have, and it's just many tones to our shade type of thing. And like you say, we got the kinky curls, we got the tight curls, like we got everything, you know. And obviously the black woman, the queen, she can produce all colors of the earth. So this is something that I know, and obviously everybody has their different views and stuff and what they think. But at the end of the day, like, it's always been about blackness for me, like, you know. And I was raised by a white mom. I'll tell you, like, it's not no secret or nothing, but I was raised by a white mother. So I didn't have the black household, right? But I was a brother that found myself, found my roots, everything. You know, everybody's had their own journey, but at the same time, that's why sometimes I'm like, I can't be mad at my dad for not being there. And my father's black, right? I'm not mad at my father for not being there. Do you know why? Because if my father was there, he would have probably shaped me into the man he thought or he wanted me to be. But I had to be my own man. I had to find out in the real world how to be my own man, find my own knowledge, find my own self. And sometimes you can raise a child with all the love and everything, but they still may not find themselves. And thank God I found myself. I know my roots. I know the oppressors' tactics as well. I know how they attack us. I don't know it. So whenever I'm speaking, I'm just speaking for us. You know, I'm just a shade of us that's speaking for us. And I'm not trying to take nothing away from my darker shade or lighter shade than me. You know, and that's something that I think we should all be celebrating, is our shades of blackness, and blackness obviously centered. That's what I'm trying, you know, but a lot of things get lost in translation. Black is, of course, centered. You'd have to be foolish not to know, but we have many different shades type of thing. And yeah, I just want to finish on this. I love and respect everybody on here. Sometimes things can get lost in translation. Us having passion and fire and trauma, we can sometimes get combatant, but thank God everything's blessed and it's love. Like, you're my people, so it's all love.
Thank you, fam. And let me just jump in and say that we give thanks to the panel. We're going to be closing soon because our brother's been a long time, and it's a 2-hour show. But I would say that I use the term compensatory, and that's very important. As in, like, if we're Afro-centered, Black-centered, we're looking at what is happening to the community historically and today, and we can identify that if certain members of certain countries or certain people groups are affected most negatively, then the balance has to be set there. And so that's the part one. But part two is, on this journey of Black Betterment within this podcast, there's going to be many different people from different parts of the community. So you might have a light-skinned Black man, you might have a dark-skinned Black woman from the States, you might have a dark-skinned Black woman who's based in the UK, you might have a biracial person based in Ireland, based in whatever it might be. As long, it's good to get the different perspectives and different people groups working together and being synchronized to demonstrate that this is how, you know, it's the idea comes first. We're all members from different spectrums, but the idea of Black people progressing and recovering from what was taken from us is centered, you see. And unfortunately, we can, and don't get wrong, there's plenty of people with 2 Black parents who are completely unsynchronized, you know, as well. We've seen, we do case studies all the time. So the knowledge is plenty. Plenty. So that's why we're a people with knowledge. Like, so it's for Black people with knowledge to work together. It isn't for all people, it's for Black people with knowledge. And if you're part of the community and you are brother and the synchronized brothers and sisters they're there, then you can always. Now it's funny because someone asks, are Somalis mixed race? That's another thing. There's all different. There's nations in so-called sub-Saharan Africa where people go, are they Black? Are they not Black? And then they try to do the history and this kind of stuff. And I'm saying that all those people are within the Black collective, but what's more important of them and them phenotypically, physically, and lineage being Black is how does that Black individual operate with the rest? And the sister who was on the panel, she's not synchronized with any form of Black Betterment at all. So if ever she was to represent or so-called represent anything Black on any kind of high space, she wouldn't center Blackness in anything. She would center something else, right? Unfortunately, that was demonstrated.
Be the Black person always in the wrong.
Yes, and we've seen that, Emma. So we're gonna unless there's any, everyone can have their last words. It's always good to do that. So if everyone just says their last words, and it'd be good if Katari, you're always welcome to join anytime. And if you want to have part 2 about something else, you can. Like, one thing I want to get these shows doing more if possible is having more discussions and constructive discussions, and see people who come from slightly different backgrounds but working out how to be constructive. That's very important for people to see. But I definitely like to get this more of a conversation thing and stuff. But is there any last words that I guess let the sisters go first, and then the brother can have his last words, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go first. I want to say, big up Raven. Thank you for always providing the space for us to come and discuss and talk. And big up my sis and big up brother Katari. I hope we do see you again, because to be absolutely honest with you, Katari, I think your voice is necessary. Like I said, I don't hear much. We need a representation of you here, which is wild, because I know in the real world there are. But yeah, I would like to say that, like, you need to come true a bit. You know, you can have a conversation without getting emotional. Like, it's, you know, it's very impressive. Considering what we've had, and around here we do go straight to the point. We're gonna do certain topics, but we're not gonna do it surface level, and we're not gonna do we're not gonna have the discussion about it the typical way. We're always gonna delve deeper with it. And I think like this, you kind of just had a bit of a flavor of it now, and you handled yourself really well. So yeah, I'm not saying that we're always gonna agree on everything. We all don't. But like what Brother Raven said, like, we handle ourselves with like love and care. So yeah, like, I just wanted to make sure that as a sister, because I know that like I was like a bit spicy in them comments, and even probably in the panel. So I just want to make that sure.
Good. No, you're good. You're good. It's all right. You know, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and you're kind, and even Melanated Goddess. I appreciate everybody's angle and point of view, and it's important. Like, you guys, just as important as mine as yours. To me, like, we're all brothers and sisters, and that's always been my stance. Like, regardless of shade, regardless of you're from Somalia, Eritrea, I've always seen my people as my brothers and sisters, and you know, we all have our own struggles, and I appreciate Empress Kush, Raven, Melanated Goddess. Thank you.
Well, Raven, thank you so much for you know, having this platform, hosting these type of conversations where you know, the Black family can have an in-house family, even though we're doing it in public, but still have an in-house conversation, you know, and hash things out. And so I will say that, you know, I definitely, you know, believe in the one drop rule. So someone who, if they identify and like they have that ancestry and they acknowledge that they're Black, I welcome them and treat them as a Black person. They are constructive, and you know, the door is open. So I don't have an issue with that. I think the conversation around identifications, for me, I try to be respectful of everyone's culture. So for me, it does come across a bit disrespectful to just ignore. But like Sister Kushi said, we all have our opinions, and we vocalize them in a very passionate, direct, assertive manner. And you know, I spoke a lot about like feelings and so forth. So we don't really necessarily pander to feelings, especially at the expense of the larger community. So you know, I want to repeat. I agree with the things that Sister Kushi said. You know, I like your how you stand 10 toes down on who you are. And for that, I definitely respect you, brother. So I enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sister. Now, brother, did you want to? You didn't say your that wasn't your last speech, was it? Was that your speech there, Katari? Did you want to end at all?
Yeah, well, that was pretty much the ending, but I'll end again and say, you're all my people, I love you all, and it's just real like that, you know.
Thank you.
You have to respect everyone, and it's much love. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Now we're gonna end by saying this, but we're gonna try to have more of a back and forth if possible.
Sorry, brother Raven, can I just suggest something? So sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying that I think Qatari had other, like, he literally came prepared, like he had little points that he wants to discuss. So and also Dominic has been asking, have you done a part 2? If you have, when's it going to come out? And if you haven't, are you going to do a part 2?
Yes.
So yeah, those are the points.
I want so one thing.
And then the first point was just like, if maybe we could do a next part where Qatari can come and talk about his parts and that. Yeah.
So Qatari, whenever you want to do a part 2 and do further notes, you're more than welcome. Hopefully by then I can fix my machine. It's really I couldn't even open the PDF, and it's done this in the past, right? It's annoying. But you're always welcome to do a part 2, maybe next week or whenever you're ready. And that's the answer to brother Dominic. When Jelly wants to do it, he can. There were some sisters who are also from some other controversial kind of like platforms who wanted to come on to kind of challenge the darker sisters days. Who wanted to challenge the other sister. I don't know if he's going to let them on. One thing I would say though is he will embrace anxiety and that kind of stuff and back and forth because it's going to have clicks and he's got the dirty work thing. I would like there to be a solution based on I like the people who to come on to be able to see that through. So as long as the sisters, if they're going to add other sisters who can, like, see it through and not be drawn into whatever might happen in those kind of podcasts, because they can be quite triggering when people just say certain things. But yeah, we're going to end there. But brother, if you can always contact me the way you had before. If you're going to do a part 2 and next week, you always want to do next week. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't mind. That's love. The thing is, though, the thing, though, my people, is it's not like I want to be a mixed race representative. Do you know why? It's like I'm a black representative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just a shade of it. Do you know what I mean, guys? If that makes sense.
Well, like I said, I see you as a brother. So you're in a mixed race brother. You're a brother. You're a black brother.
Thank you.
Let's
clarify. I want to make clarity then, because maybe that's for let me make clarity on what I said, because that's what I'm saying. I didn't.
No, I understood what you meant, Empress.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I wasn't saying that because I didn't understand
that. But I'm so like, it actually makes me rate you even more to even make that clarity.
Yeah,
but I want you to know that I see you as a brother.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Even if you had 2 black parents or whatever, because like I said, I'm not gonna, that's why I'm even stuttering on this, because if you're a brother to me, you're just a brother. I know you're new to us, but we really are like this, like we are true to how we say. So you are a brother, but there could be another brother that came on who had 2 black parents, right? And if he said something that was contributed, ask the chat. I said the same thing. You need to come on. We need this voice. Do you understand? Once you get around us, you'll understand. But I actually rate that you actually wanted to make that specified. Like, that's a true warrior heart spirit. You understand? I can't knock it. But I just want you to know that that is no way how I meant it.
No, I understand that, Queen. And I was just trying to.
I get that, bro. And let me add, and when I talk about compensatory and people's position they can play, it's important that I'm of Caribbean descent based in the UK, right? So I can there's an experience of being a Caribbean descent based in the UK, while someone might be Caribbean descent based in the Caribbean, right? And there's similar but differences when it comes to experiences, but when it comes to Black Betterment, we can work together. And the way we can work together, for example, the sister last week, she looked at me and she said, "Are you trying to tell me, brother, that because you're lighter than Jedi, he's trying to say that his life is harder?" Now, that could be someone that tries to make us unsingle and go, no, he's wrong. But I said, no, the brother's correct in it. So I use my position to highlight a Black-centered idea.
Facts.
Right? And that's powerful, because what people who try to cause division do is they try to look for certain nations, tones, ethnicities, and go, yeah, but you're different, right? Yeah, he's saying this about you, and that's what we see quite consistently, right? So understand the compensatory. How do I represent myself as part of the bigger collective and show the truth of the most beneficial information about this situation that doesn't divide, but I can still. It's what the sister wasn't doing. She was just saying Black women just complain and they've got the issue, and and racism is in the head, all that kind of stuff. That is, we have data, big data against that kind of concept, right? But she wasn't synchronized with any form of Black Betterment, so that's why it was easy for her to do that kind of stuff. I hope that makes sense, family.
Yes, totally. And just when I said about I don't want to come on as mixed race. What I mean by that, sorry people, what I'm trying to say, the concept of it is like basically I don't want to come on as I'm separate type of thing, because of the term where it goes back to the titles and the terms with even black, right? Black was created, the term, and then it was a Negro before that, right? So it's like where I'm preying, where I'm noticing the oppression that where the oppressors have put titles and labels and names. You're light skin. I'm not trying to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to come into them kind of brackets. I'm trying to come on as the soul.
Centering black. I like that, brother. And next time we do it, I'm gonna see if because the PDF is very powerful, right? Because it has diagrams and it lists everything. And unfortunately, my machine's messing around. But everything you're saying, it kind of synchronizes with that, and the history of words and centering something. And we're taking it that you're centering blackness. You are a black brother. You're centering black because collectively we're helping black people as a whole.
That's right. Yes, that's right. 100%. That's what it should be. If it's not that, then it don't make no sense. Personally, I think.
And it's good that you're a person with one black parent speaking that way, because unfortunately there are many in the UK who have been raised whatever way to be anti that or the opposite of that. So that's why we're saying it's important that we have a person from your background, just like it's important for a person with my background saying the things I'm saying, right?
I get it. And I respect it, and I'm all for it too. I'm all for it. Like if that's what the people call for, I'm all for it. But still, it's still centered with black people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, what we're gonna say is, and Foster, maybe next week you could jump on as well, because maybe, brother, you can read Foster's comments. You'll see where he's coming from, and he's been before and what he represents, and he's more synchronized with what the sister was talking about completely. So he's definitely someone you can just unpack. But we're gonna have to go now, family. But
he said he's gonna rewatch it. That's his homework, so he's gonna rewatch
There you go. That's good. So family, Black Betterment to all, and all Black Betterment. Hopefully next week we'll have a part 2, and then we'll do more case study and synchronizing. But until then, have a good day and constructive and Black
love
Betterment.
Kush, love Melanaid, love Raven.
Peace.
There you go.
There you go.
Peace to Tyler.